Welcome everybody to the Daily Intimacy. And I invite you to have a breath this morning and gently close your eyes. Let's do 3 breaths like that. 3 cleansing breaths. Deep breath into the belly. Exhale with a sound or a sigh. And one more deep breath. Feel the breath all the way down to the root chakra, to the base of your body if you can, in through the nose. And then exhale, relax, open to receive, and open to presence. And as you come to stillness, focusing inward, I invite you to notice what's present for you this morning. Just a quick scan of your body, see if you notice any sensations, anything that feels a little bit tight this morning. If you haven't already done your yoga practice or stretching, you might make a few little micro movements. Yeah, there's always stretching overhead and left and right. I didn't do my yoga yet, so it's nice to have some stretch. And then continue just for a few more seconds to check in with yourself emotionally, how you're feeling this morning. Notice what's present for you. Bring your attention to the earth beneath you. Continuing, if it is spring where you are, to feel that spring soil, nourishing and nurturing and filled with possibility, filled with magic and surprises. And allow that energy to seep up into your own energy field, filling yourself with magic and the energy of surprise. And then bring your attention to above, the sky above, the high vibrations way above, and allow that energy to come in through the crown of your head. And sprinkle you with the sparkles of that crystalline energy that brings nothing but joy and ease, peace and relaxation. And hold the intention to release and uncreate any energy that brings your vibration down or might be in this moment. Just release that on the exhale. Release that from any places in your body that are feeling tight, contracted, painful, whatever it is you're experiencing. And then nice deep breath in. Exhale. Gently open your eyes and come on back when you're ready. Yeah. Welcome again to the Daily Intimacy that happens weekly. You might take a little scroll around to see who's here. Some new faces, new names, familiar faces, familiar names. Welcome Frida, Linda, Janice, Jill, Sarah, and Doug. Nice to see you. All righty. Well, I'm really excited. Serena and I met last November, and I think I've been communicating this with you, but I keep being like drawn to you and your energy. Like it just keeps popping up for me, and has been popping up for me all year. And I think it's because I just feel the depth of your being, and also the depth of the ways that you serve in the world, as a shaman, as an energy worker, as a, social worker, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as a mom. And Serena and I paired up during the Jaguar Path one weekend for this really powerful exercise. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I know we're going to do a couple different things, but one of the things that we did on that day, I was so inspired by, and it was fun and playful and healing, which, like, for me, those are like my guideposts, like fun, playful, healing. Those are pretty much the ones I gravitate towards and enjoy. And so anyway, I felt, excited to bring that particular exercise here. And then Serena, sort of expanded upon that and bringing more of her gifts. So I'm excited about everything, and I'm really happy that you're here today. Why don't you unmute? Yeah, you did. Great.
I did. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm super. What you want to say about yourself? Because I just sort of highlighted.
Oh no, I actually was going to go a little bit into that. So I'm Serena. I'm from New Jersey, in Woodbury, which is the southern part of New Jersey. And if you know anything about New Jersey, for some reason we split this tiny state into 3 areas. So it's important that I tell you I'm from the southern part, because it's not central or north, and that is just a big joke about being in New Jersey. But the reason I came here today, and Robyn invited me, is because I had some things I wanted to talk about. I am a hospice social worker. I've been doing that for about 3 years now. I am a massage therapist. I am a Reiki master and teacher, and now I'm a student of shamanism and the Jaguar Path and yoga. And the reason that I have been involved in all of these things is that way back when I was, a senior in high school, I decided that I wanted to get into psychology, and I wanted to help people. I wanted to get inside their minds and help and fix them. So I went to school for my bachelor's, and I ended up doing psychology and criminal justice. And I ended up working at a bank, which is totally not what my goal was. But, I learned some stuff about myself and other people, and I needed the job, so I worked my way through. But something was always missing. I always felt that there was more to just the physical ailment or the psychological ailment. And I wasn't being fulfilled in my job, and I wasn't taking care of myself. And walking one day, I remember my friend and I used to take walks all the time at the bank just to get out of the office. And she said, I should be a massage therapist. And I looked at her and I went, you don't like to touch people. Why would you want to do that? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, I should be a massage therapist, like hands-on healing. This is a fantastic idea. And she was like, you're right, you should do this. And I went into that at a very big transition time in my life. I remember it was 2010, and my parents had just gotten divorced, and I was 27. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had just gotten out of a 7-year relationship, and this massage therapy fell in my lap. And it opened up this whole other part of me that I knew was there, but I hadn't been tapping into. And I felt cared for. I felt that in giving this gift, I could care for, others, but also myself. And during that journey, I learned Tai Chi, and I learned, how to feel energy. And I learned that I felt it very quickly and very easily. And I just fell in love, but I couldn't sustain, a job where I was doing this full time. So I got my massage therapy certificate, which then was quickly changed to a license. So I had to go get my license through Jersey. And then, some time went on, and I was still at the bank, and I still felt run down, depressed. I was in debt. I had all these things going on, and I just couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. I had stomach issues. The stomach issues went on forever, and I just couldn't figure out where they were coming from, because every time I went to the doctor, you're the typical. You have IBS, you have acid reflux, no big deal. So few more years go by and I find out about Reiki. And this is when things really started to shift for me. I found out about Reiki from one of my massage teachers, and she said, go call this woman. She does one-on-one training. You're going to love it. Well, little did I know the woman lived 10 minutes from my house. So I go and I meet her, and all of a sudden, everything starts to click. And we start talking about chakras and energy and how physical can affect us mentally, and our mental health can affect us physically and our spirit, and how all of these things are looked at with Reiki, and how you're tapping into someone energetically, but we're looking at the full picture. And I was hooked day one. And not only was I hooked, but I was offered a job. So I was like, wow, this is finally getting me on the right path. I went through Reiki 1. As soon as I could, I went through Reiki 2. And then she said, okay, slow down. You have to wait 6 months to do your master level. So I was, okay, I'm committed, practicing on people, really, really involved, engaged. Things, started to shift within me and around me. So I finally do my master class. 2 months later, I meet my husband, and I'm like, at this point, I was riding high. I was taking care of myself. I found this new thing. I meet my husband. We immediately click, and I find out he has 3 children. And I'm like, okay, I can take on the world. I can be a stepmom. Little did I know what I was getting myself into. But through this learning of becoming this instant mother of 3 children, ages 12 and under, I was still very unhappy with my job at the bank. There was still that huge piece missing, and I couldn't sustain massage therapy or Reiki or any of these things to, survive on my own financially. And a lot of times finances are one of those things that really trigger us. So, my husband, my boyfriend at the time, said, go back to school, go back to school, do something you love. And he really encouraged me to go back, and I decided to go into social work. And what I found there is that I had a love for hospice, and that being close to hospice patients was really the ultimate, way to nurture someone, because we are still treating the mind, the body, and the spirit. Because as the body is deteriorating, we're helping to take care of them mentally and spiritually, to be able to cope with the fact that they are dying and to help those around them. So the reason I say all these different things is that, in these journeys, I realize we have to look at this whole picture. We have to see, how the physical, emotional, and spiritual affect us. How do everything in our daily lives affect us? And oftentimes we get caught up in, caregiving and doing things for everybody else, but very often do we not take care of ourselves. So fast forward to last year in March when COVID hit. I had a child 3 years prior with my husband. So now we have 3 children at home at school, a 2-year-old, and my husband gets laid off. And I am gaining weight. Like I can't stop gaining weight. I can't stop eating. I can't stop drinking. I am just coping and trying to hold this family, these kids that are like so upset to be home, these patients who now can't get a visit from their hospice social worker or their nurse. They're isolated. They can't see their loved ones, and they're dying, or they're caring for someone that's dying. And I just started to slip and fade away. And it was at that point that I went, oh my God, how can I take care of all these people if I'm not taking care of me? And that's what I'm here to talk about, is really the importance of self-care, and how realizing that maybe we need help and we need nourishment, it's okay. And that we cannot take care of other people unless we take care of ourselves first and foremost. So a lot of times in hospice and in our regular lives, we run into something that's called compassion fatigue or caregiver breakdown. And I don't know if any of you ever heard of these things. It's also called caregiver burnout. Compassion fatigue typically is directed towards workers. Caregiver breakdown or burnout is directed towards, a caregiver who has to care for someone. But to me, they're the same. And what happens is, as we continually take care of other people, or we take care of, our job, or we take care of, every day we have to, feed the dog, make sure the kids are fed, or take care of an ailing, mother or father, or, child, or whatever it is, we can hit a wall. And a lot of us will if we do not engage in self-care. So just to give you an idea, compassion fatigue is where we're in a state of physical, emotional, and psychological distress. All of it together, we start to break down because we are always being exposed to traumatic stories or events when working in a helping capacity. So I'm sure that you've seen all these nurses, all these frontliners that have been dealing with COVID, and they're seeing people die, death after death after death. In hospice, yes, we see death. We know death is coming. Sometimes there is a rare occasion someone will come off of services, but we know it's coming. But oftentimes the trauma is, a child on services, or a young mother with cancer. Or we'll hear stories of, abuse that these people went through, or the veterans who were in World War II, Vietnam, Korea. They don't tell their families what happened to them, but sometimes they feel safe enough to tell us. I had a patient, he was in the Navy, and he was so proud to be a veteran. And he had been on ships, and he had made friends, and he had beat the odds because he had no education, and he still passed the exam to get into the Navy. And he would pour out stories to me and the chaplain. I mean, he couldn't get enough of this. And after he died, I would see his wife for grief counseling. And she said to me, Serena, he never told us those stories. He never talked about his time. Sure, we would go to the, the Navy Memorial, or we would do this or that. She goes, but he never told us this stuff, or I had a World War II veteran who felt that he was a bad person because of things he was forced to do on a ship in the Army. He had to go out on this boat across, and it was the Army. They were on a mission, and his superior said, you will kill these people or I will kill you, for insubordination. Like, these are these things that we hear all the time. It's not always this, spiritual, beautiful end of life experience, because people have stories, and that's what we're here for. That's what we hear. But sometimes it can be too much. I do grief counseling. Typically, the people that come for grief counseling have a lot of other things that have happened in their life, trauma, something that happened with the patient when they were younger, their mother, so we take these stories on, but it can burn us out. So one of the biggest things, I promote in hospice is self-care. If you have that deep session as a worker, take a walk, take a breath, recenter yourself, learn to ground, paint something that brings you joy. And a lot of times these things will hit us physically and we won't really know. Caregiver burnout is the same thing. It's just from direct caregiving, but it's the same symptoms: physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. You might have a change in attitude. You could have been positive, and then you've been doing this caregiving for all these years and you hit a wall. I hear a lot of mothers just say, I feel like a horrible mother, but I just want space. I need everyone to go away for 5 minutes. And that is a real sign that you're breaking down, that you're giving so much of yourself, but you're not taking anything back. Has anyone ever felt like that? Like you just give and give and give, and then all of a sudden you're just exhausted, and it doesn't have to be in a parental role. It doesn't have to be, it could be in your job, you could be in a job that just isn't fulfilling, and your boss just takes and takes and takes and takes. And we always feel inclined to say yes, right? Whatever reason, it's so hard for us to say no sometimes. Some of us, can't always set that boundary. Some of us can say like no, and that's great. But, it can be hard for a lot of us to do that. So, I mean, some of the warning signs, you suddenly have a lack of energy, overwhelming fatigue, sleep problems, you want to sleep more or you're not sleeping at all, changing your eating habits. So here's a classic: weight gain. I was at my highest weight when COVID started until I finally decided to make a change. Feelings of hopelessness, withdrawing from or losing interest in activities. And these are very similar to signs, that you hear about grief and depression and things like that. But, the list goes on: anxiety, depression, difficulty coping. And haven't we been in that world for too long now with COVID? Just being here for that year and just not being able to hug a loved one or see a friend or go to the movies, these simple things that we couldn't do. It's really tough. And, 4 major stressors in our lives: money, relationships, work, and time. We never feel like we have enough time, or that we're always on a time limit. This has to be done at this time or else. And then we come up with a narrative, so what I would like to do is, I do have a self-care assessment. So if you have paper and a pencil, they're yes or no questions. I just want you to write yes, Y for yes, N for no, and just kind of check in with yourself. And this is something we can do regularly because, these warning signs can creep up on us. They can come in the form of physical ailments. A lot of times we hold emotion in our gut. So our gut health can be very thrown off when we're feeling stressed or anxious, have a lot of gastrointestinal problems or get migraines, people that just feel stressed out, or you see people like holding their head, like it can actually form into a migraine. So, okay. Everybody good? Cool.
Yes, we are ready to go.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So first question is, do you feel guilty about the things you don't do? Are you often irritable? Have you noticed changes in your appetite and or an increase in cravings? This is a big one. Do you rarely, if ever, make time to do what feels good? Do you laugh and smile regularly? Are you uncomfortable with being alone? Do you take the time to tune into your body and mind's needs and make those needs a priority? Do you have hobbies? Do you surround yourself with people that make you happy? Is the little voice in your head criticizing you? Do you wake up ready to start the day with energy or dread? Do you go to bed exhausted but have a hard time falling and staying asleep? Do you spend all of your time caring for other people and giving little thought to caring for yourself? Do you spend all your time caring for other people Oh, that's the same question. Look at that. Do you go outdoors just for the joy of being outdoors? Do you feel like joy is elusive? Do you beat yourself up for your mistakes? Do small things feel like big things? Are you in a constant or frequent state of overwhelmed? Are you stressed more days of the week than not? And do you frequently focus on wanting more, bigger, or better? And then just add up how many yeses and nos you have. If you feel like sharing, you can in the chat box.
How many total questions were there? 29 or 30?
There are, yep, 20 questions, I think. Nope. Yeah.
No.
They're not numbered. 8. 21.
21.
Yeah. They're not numbered, of course.
Right. Yeah, I know. I had a couple of sometimes also. I guess it depends on the question though, right?
Now I have 22. 21. So the reason I did this assessment is this is really a great way to check in with yourself and just, say to yourself, is something off? Am I more irritable? Am I craving more? Am I not doing enough for me? And really, more than 3 yeses means that you could really use some self-care. It doesn't mean that if you have more or less, you're in a danger zone, but you could be getting close. And I just really encourage you to then come up with, a self-care plan, or find something that you really enjoy doing that you can enjoy, do for yourself for the day. Honestly, it only takes 5 to 10 minutes a day to just take some time for you. And I don't mean I'm going to go to the grocery store by myself, because that's still a chore. I don't mean I'm going to take a shower, because that's still something that we need to do. I'm talking something that you really are passionate about, or something that brings you real peace. Maybe it's a walk on a trail. Maybe, like I said, it's painting. Maybe, it's going somewhere and just reading a book that you've been dying to read and you just can't get into because there's so many other things going on. Other ways to do self-care, get a massage, listen to music, yoga, get Reiki, use essential oils. They're a really great way to, bring down our stress levels like that, because the scent actually crosses the brain barrier so quickly that your brain says, oh, this is good for me. And I noticed that a lot of times when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling down, we associate a negative word that we have labeled ourselves. That when we feel like we're failing, that we give ourselves. And this word often holds us back, but also sits in our physical body. So maybe, you're feeling overwhelmed. One of my examples is sometimes I just feel so overwhelmed and so unappreciated by the things that I do that no one seems to notice at home. And it could be that I do everyone's laundry, but no one ever says thank you. And I get really stressed out and overwhelmed. And I'm like, oh, no one appreciates me. Why do I even bother? And then all this negative jargon hits us. But how can we transform that? So we have some scars that can come, there's little scars and things that happen to us from childhood on that can sit in our bodies. And we could talk things over and over and over again, but it doesn't always get it out. And that's why things like yoga and Tai Chi are so great, because it physically moves energy and blockages out of our body. Massage moves these things by moving the muscles and the fluid. Reiki. And something that we learned in our shamanism training that Robyn was talking about is a word deconstruction. And it's something I would like to do today. So the idea behind it is, we label ourselves these words. So I want you guys to come up with something that has been sitting with you. It's a word that's been holding us back that we need to rewrite for ourselves. Studies say that it takes 90 days to change a negative thought or behavior into a positive. But what if we could do that through movement? And that's what I want to do today. Other words, pain is a big one. Lonely or alone. Angry, anger.
So we're looking for a word that we say to ourselves. Can you say it again? Like that we say to ourselves that's negative, or
that we label ourselves. Yeah. Something that we say to ourselves, especially when we're stressed out. Something
like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, or this is too much for me. I can't handle it.
Right.
I know I worked with the word disappointment because it's such a powerful word for me, because my parents used to always say, like, we're so disappointed in you. I know your dad would never, ever say that to you, and has never said that to you. And I know he's here. But yeah, I worked with the word disappointment because it felt so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would lead me to a negative space, which is not self-loving or self-caring.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a word like that.
Yep.
Yeah, one word.
I used anger the time we did it because I was feeling very frustrated with many things that were going on in my life. And I just felt like I couldn't release that. And when we say these words to ourselves, they become a part of us. It's almost like we, manifest them into us. And then it's so hard to shake the negative. It's so hard to be positive to ourselves. How often do you look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm handsome, I'm loved. We don't do those things, but we're easy to say, like, oh, look at this, like my face, it looks awful. We're so quick to do that. And that's what we're just looking for one word that you feel really resonates with you lately. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate, we're going to move through the 4 power animals of shamanism from our Jaguar training. We're going to move through serpent, which helps us to shed our skin and let go of the past. Then we will move into Jaguar, which helps us to move beyond our fear of the unknown. Into Hummingbird, which helps us to appreciate the sweetness of life and all it has to offer. And then end on Condor, which teaches us to fly above and see the greater picture and know that we're connected to something higher than ourselves. And this is going to look silly. So I'm telling you that now. This is going to look silly. If you can and have space, I encourage you to do this on the floor, on a mat. But if not, you can do it seated. Just make sure you have enough room for your arms to move around freely. And when we're going through it, I will demonstrate it seated. So whatever way you want, know that we're all going to look silly together, and that's okay. And that's the process. So and what I want you to do is you're going to take this word, and I'm going to demonstrate what we're going to do, but you're going to repeat this word as you move through each posture. So let me get set up while you guys.
So Serena, we're going to do it with you while you're demonstrating.
I was going to demonstrate it first, and then you can do it with me while I'm seated.
Okay. Yeah. Because it doesn't take very long. It's true.
It doesn't. And this could take, I can help guide you through each movement, but if you want to move faster or slower than me, by all means, it's very, very yogic in that it's your practice. Okay. So can you see?
Yeah. So we're first, Serena's going to demo, and then we're going to do it. And when we do it, feel free to be off screen or turn your video off or whatever if you feel silly.
Yep, and you're going to want to say the word out loud. So I'm going to use anger again, just because I did it before. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to lay down on your stomach. You're going to put your arms out, and you're just going to start saying the word. So you're going to repeat, and you're going to say anger, 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 anger. And I want you to roll around and pretend like you're a serpent. Anger, 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 anger. And I want you to break the word up. Anger. Come up onto all fours and just kind of move around like you're a jaguar. Knead the floor. Have little jaguar paws. Just really do your full expression. And you're just going to repeat anger, 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 anger. Great, great. And watch, the words will start to transform. And then you're going to sit back on your knees. I don't know if you can still see me. Yep. And you're going to flutter your arms like a hummingbird and your hands around you, clearing out your energy field. Grr, great, great, anger, great, great, grateful, grateful, grateful. And then come up on one leg, grateful. And then pull your hands like you're a condor soaring through the sky. Grateful, grateful, grateful. Really soar through. Full expression. Keep saying the word. Grateful, grateful, grateful. And what happened there is, as I was going through the movements, the word organically changed. So it started with anger, and then anger, and then great, great. And then it kind of flows through. And it doesn't have to be one word that you come out with. It can be a phrase. It could be something symbolic. I do remember when Robyn and I did it, she said, oh, I feel like there's pennies everywhere, and pennies are lucky, and that's a good thing. Like it had come through. So I will demonstrate sitting. When you're sitting, I just encourage you to have your feet planted on the floor. Okay. And then we're gonna use our arms and our body just to kind of move around for that. Okay. So take your places wherever you would like to be. I'm just going to kind of remind you of the animal postures as we go through. But again, take your time, move as much or as little is comfortable for you. Don't do anything that, it doesn't feel right today. Okay. And it's important that you say the words out loud. Okay. All right. So everybody, cool. Good to go. All right. So if you're laying down, just have your belly touch the floor beneath you. If you're sitting, put your arms up, straight up. All right. And then start saying your word and start moving around, as if you're a serpent, just slithering through, shedding your skin. Repeating the word, breaking it down. Good. And maybe if it feels right, you come up on all fours if you're on the floor, but if not, I want you to kind of curl your fingers into little jaguar claws and just move as if you're walking through a jungle with no fear, seeing beyond the fear and the unknown, repeating the word and however it is breaking down. If you're on the floor, wag your jaguar tail. If you're sitting, maybe shimmy a little bit in your chair. And then coming back onto your knees, sitting up, or if you're seated, start fluttering your little hummingbird wings. Flutter them out to the side, down your sides. Maybe bring them above you, below, behind. appreciating the sweetness and the transformation you're going through. And then come up onto one knee or come to standing if you'd like. Stay seated if you'd like. Put your arms out as far as you can and just start to soar as if you're flying high above. Remembering to see the greater picture, that you were worthy and loved. When you feel you have your new word or phrase, you can lower your wings and take a deep breath, honoring yourself for doing this. Taking your time, there's no rush.
What do you think it's going to be today? Gloomy or a little sunny?
Oops.
It's a good day. I
Krista,
got kids on vacay all week. Need this meditation time.
So how did that feel for everyone? If you want to change, if you want to share what your first word was and how it transformed, feel free.
yeah, let's put me in the chat. I'd love to hear from some of you. Thanks, Bill. Felt great. I can share mine, but I'd love to hear from other people first.
Yeah, me too.
And just put me in the chat and we will unmute.
Hey,
Share.
Krista here.
Hi, Krista. What was your word?
Anger.
And what did it
Letting go. Transpired into, you guys, I'm on a Zoom chat. Turned into, I'm not somebody that likes to hold on to things or hold grudges. I'm a Gemini, so like if something's bothering me, I try to get it out there as nice as possible, without being a snob or whatever. But I'm just someone that if something's bothering me, I'll be your best friend and I'll be honest with you. But like if I say, hey, something's bothering me and you kind of score me for that, like then I'll start like, resenting or not holding stuff in. So my first attempt is always try to be communicative, but then, people sometimes are difficult, so that, holding on to that anger, just frustration can end up in explosion. So
Right. Sounds like it transmuted.
yeah, like so anger can be a good thing. Like anger is good. Like if we never got angry, we wouldn't be human. There would be something wrong with us. But like with me, I'm 33 and
So Krista, I'm going to interrupt you for a sec because I want to hear from a couple different people. Thank you so much for sharing and for being here for the first time. I think so there were a few other people working with anger. Beth's turned into soaring, which is awesome. Let's hear from Jill Sarah and then Andrew. And thanks, Krista, again, for starting us off. Or maybe it was Doug, one of you.
Yeah, you're right. It was me. But do you mind me to say something too? Yeah, this is a little bit of a vulnerable share, I think, for me at least. So I started with shit, like piece of shit. And I ended with fertile, like manure, like shit becomes manure. And manure is like compost and things grow from the people use manure to fertilize. So maybe shit to fertilizer.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for taking the risk and the chance and sharing with us. Thanks. Good to see you guys. Andrew.
Yeah, I love that. Mine, it was like this migration. So it was from the same as Robyn's, disappoint. and then to sugar, which I didn't understand. That went to sweet and then to sweeten. So it was like this progression. So that was a lot of fun. So it went from disappoint to sweetness.
I love that.
Nice. Awesome. I love that too. Then we got painful to grateful with Andrea. And looks like Pat says that caring became a negative word, but in the exercise, it became positive again. Overwhelmed to acceptance. Mine was illness to nest. It's like this beautiful bird's nest with little blue robin's eggs inside.
I love that.
Stuck to fluid. Very powerful for such a short exercise. I agree. Misunderstood to brave. Awesome. Sad to serene. Lovely. Tired and heavy to gracious and energized. So you did 2 words. That's great. One thing that was recommended to us was to make a list of all those words. Like I have a list of I made like a list of 10 and I'm sort of whittling away at them. I probably have like 5 left.
Yeah.
So planning on going through them.
And this could definitely be your 5 minutes a day of self-care, because is not a long exercise. It gets you moving, it gets the blood flowing, and it really is that like instant transformation.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Good.
Great. Thank you. That was awesome.
You're welcome. So I do have one more thing that I would like to end on, but I just want to say, you know, it's just so important to do these things. And, you know, I am a mother, I am a social worker, I am a wife, but these are labels, you know, and inside I am so much more than that. I am creative. You know, I used to write and do art and all of these things before, you know, life comes in and kind of scoops us up and decides, oh no, you have to do these other things. But we are so much more than these things. And we just have to honor ourselves and honor our bodies and remember that, you know, we're worth the self-care. You know, like I said, we can't care for anybody else unless we care for ourselves first. And it's not selfish. It's survival, it's self-preservation, and it's finding our own light so that we can shine and find those things that bring us joy again, that maybe we've forgotten for all these years. So, you know, I'm going to end with a nice chakra balancing for today. It's a guided meditation. So you just need to find a comfortable space, either lay down or sit. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. And I honor all of you for coming today. Okay, so get in your comfortable space. I do have bells. I don't know if they're going to translate well over Zoom, but I'm going to ring them. So if you hear them, that's awesome. So yeah, just sit or lay down. Like I said, find a space where you can, you know, just be comfortable. If you feel safe and comfortable to do so, close your eyes. And I want you to start by taking a deep inhale through your nose and hold it for a count of 3. And then breathe out through the mouth, sighing your stress away. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Feeling your body become heavier as your light body begins to rise. Continuing to connect with your breath, rising up, rising up. We will begin at the base of your spine, at the root chakra. The color of this chakra is red. Visualize a spinning ball of red light directly in front of you. Watch as it spirals, vibrant and full of life. This is the chakra of courage, strength, and nurture. Breathe in this red light. And as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am brave. I am grounded. I am safe. Moving up to your lower abdomen, we arrive at the Sacral Chakra, which sits just below the navel. The color of this chakra is orange. Visualize a spinning ball of orange light directly in front of you. Watch as it spirals, vibrant and full of life. This is the chakra of security, stamina, sexuality, and change. Breathe in this orange light, and as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am creative. I am sexy. I am open to change. Moving up to the base of the sternum, we arrive at the solar plexus chakra. The color of this chakra is yellow. Visualize a spinning ball of yellow light directly in front of you. Watch as it spirals, vibrant and full of life. This is the chakra of power and freedom to be oneself. This is the chakra of self-worth. Breathe in this yellow light, and as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am strong. I am free to be myself. I am worthy. Moving up further still, we arrive at the heart chakra, which sits in the middle of our chest. The color of this chakra is green. This chakra is the horizon line, bringing balance to those above and below. This is the chakra of love, balance, and self-compassion. Breathe in this green light, and as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am compassionate. I am balanced. I am loved. Moving up now, we arrive to the throat chakra, which sits at the base of our throat. The color of this chakra is blue. Visualize a spinning ball of blue light directly in front of you. Watch as it spirals strongly and full of life. This is the chakra of truth and self-expression. Breathe in this blue light, and as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am expressive. I am vocal. I am heard. Moving up once more, we arrive at the space between our eyebrows at the third eye chakra. The color of this chakra is indigo. Visualize a spinning ball of indigo light directly in front of you. Watch as it spirals strongly, vibrant, and full of life. This is the chakra of intuition, awareness, and knowing. Breathe in this indigo light, and as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am aware. I am intuitive. I am connected. Moving up, we arrive at the crown chakra, our final chakra, which sits at the top of our head. The color of this chakra is violet. Visualize a spinning ball of violet light directly in front of you. Watch as it spirals strongly, vibrant, and full of life. This is the chakra of spirituality, knowledge, and unity. Breathe in this violet light, and as you breathe out, say aloud to yourself, I am spirit. I am harmony. I am divine. Feel yourself as you shine now in your true potential. Feel the vibrations as your chakras spiral within you, instilling peace, promoting good health, and connecting to your entire being. Bask in this divine light, mind, body, and spirit. Think of the word or phrase that you deconstructed a moment earlier. Think of the positivity and release you felt while creating a new word, phrase, and truth for yourself. As you recall it, repeat this new word or phrase and know that you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. Breathe more deeply and feel your spirit come back into your earth body. Slowly, gently reconnecting with the ground or chair and earth beneath you. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms overhead in a big stretch as if you were waking up to restart your day. If you're laying down, you can roll to whichever side feels right to you. Take a moment there and then slowly push yourself up. And then I want you all to bring your hands at prayer pose in front of you and bow, taking a moment to honor yourself. Smile and be proud of yourself for coming here today and engaging in some self-care.
Thank you so much, Serena.
Namaste.
Namaste. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for pointing us towards self-care in such a specific way. And thank you for the exercise.
So thanks for having me today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you guys now have you have this exercise you can do at home anytime. You can listen to the recording whenever you want to remember it or ask. And I hope everybody has a blessed day. Thanks for staying for a few minutes past 10. And we'll see you next week. Mwah.
Thank you.